it's Nithya. I'm here with TamilCulture.com, and the last time you may have saw me, I was interviewing a lovely young lady from Mississauga who had just got a lead for a Netflix show spearheaded by Mindy, which is a huge deal. And that show, Never Have I Ever, has been greenlit for season 2. So we have her with us again, Maitreyi Ramakrishnan. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm chilling. I've totally messed up my sleep schedule now. Like, it's just gone. Like, there's no hope in saving it. So I'm like, why save it? You know, like, it's done.
How has it been with COVID? Have you just been hanging out over here, or just, building your family relationships at home?
Pretty much, like, I've been in Saga, like, the entire time.
Yeah.
Lots of family bonding. Yeah. No, honestly, like,
such enthusiasm.
In such a real note, though, like, I'm actually really happy that I am with them versus not with them, because I know I would go insane if I was, like, alone or, I didn't have all of them.
So, I mean, how did the news come for season 2?
Yeah.
Tell us a bit more about that moment.
Well, Mindy actually told the whole cast that we were gonna get, greenlit for season 2, so that was really exciting. We were all like
in one chat, was it online, virtually, or?
Oh, in a nice, good old-fashioned email. It was super hype. We were this whole email thread, and because we are all in different time zones, right? So
right. This is true, yeah. I didn't think
so
about that.
in a good old-fashioned email, and of course, even though I'm in Canada and I'm on a different time zone, my sleep schedule is in a different time zone, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. She sent the email. I woke up to the news, and I was like the last person to find out, which is sad.
The best for last, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, super hype. And then we were just trying to figure out how we announce it, in a respectful way that's also authentic to the show, not overly cheesy or over the top, no big production kind of scale.
Yeah.
Epic trailer.
It seems crazy to get us together to talk about your bangs.
It's not about the bangs! I just wanted to tell you guys that Never Have I Ever is being renewed for a season 2. Okay?
Season 2? Yes!
I love the idea. I thought it was so apt. It was perfect.
Yeah,
we're all doing this, right? We're all Zooming and learning how to talk to people, through a phone, so.
Exactly. But yeah, it's super chill. Lang for sure helped write that little script. she's a wizard. She whipped up that script in 2 seconds and was like, hey, Maitreyi, what do you think, Maitreyi? Do you like this? And I'm like, yeah, great. It's awesome. So yeah.
Has there been a discussion kind of on, given the pandemic and stuff, how's this gonna work?
Not really. Nothing finalized, nothing for sure. But there's been a couple of theories of how it's gonna work, of whether you have to get tested constantly while you're on set, once you do start filming. But I do know that in terms of Never Have I Ever, our crew and our cast, we're honestly in no rush to start. We'd rather wait and make sure everything is perfectly safe so that we can do it the best way we possibly can, rather than rush into it and then be risky about it all.
No, that's fair. I mean, there's so many variables now, and I mean, when you're doing a show and you're in high school, I mean, you can't have an empty high school, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, this is really amazing. I'm super excited. I binge watched your show in a day. It was totally possible to do in a day. Yeah. And I'm super, honestly, as a South Asian woman, fellow Tamil female, I'm so proud of you. And there's so many women in my own circle who are just this girl. So, I mean, thank you for continuing to do this. And, you blew up very quickly too. I think the last time that we talked, you may have been at around 300, just a shy 300,000 followers.
I don't even think. I think it was in the tens or something. I don't even know.
No, girl. You had a fan base.
Did I?
But now you're over 1 million. That's crazy. How are you? How is it? How does it feel? How are you adapting to that new celebrity status?
It's weird. I still when I hear the word celebrity, I'm Okay, sure. Yeah, exactly. I'm still adapting to it, I guess. It's still like, whoa. It's wild to me. The other day, Netflix came out with the numbers of 40 million households watching the show, and I'm like I genuinely was like,
there's
really?
40 million people?
No, I'm like, willingly?
In the show, so Baby, the main character, that's what we're called in the show. She's literally done everything that I've ever wanted to do, but was so afraid of doing. Like, she's 16. She can wear what she wants. She moves out of the house with some white dude, okay? Like, technically. And
she does.
She's doing therapy sessions. Like, literally, she's a 16-year-old girl who's doing a lot of the things. I mean, my friends are like, oh, should I do this or what? Like. So, I mean, this is like one of the many reasons why I think the show is just amazing. But some people were calling, there's always critics, who are calling for better South Asian level representation in the show. And like specifically, when we're going, even on our TC page, some people had mentioned, why wasn't there a South Asian male love interest, and why are we only showing the Western parts of South Asian culture? Like, this wasn't good enough, What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, like you said, like you and your friends, like you guys totally related to Davies, like, all of her dreams and her antics, and I would never call her a role model, but yeah, you guys could definitely like relate to Davy. And I know so many people can, because reality is there's a lot of good feedback, right? Like you said, there's always going to be critics. Yeah. But the thing is that with the South Asian character now, it's that you can't fully encompass all that it means to be South Asian, because there's not enough representation as is. Right now, Davy is one of... Exactly. And right now, Davy is one of the biggest, South Asian characters in Western film. Right. But the thing is, she can't possibly encompass everything that it means to be South Asian when there's literally so many different cultures within the South Asian community. Like,
we're everywhere.
Yeah, and even
we're everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, within South Asian, like the biggest bubble term ever, right? That's such a bubble term. But within that, there's so many stories. There's so many different experiences to be told, and then so many different personalities. And I think what it is that, with white characters, we're so used to seeing all those different stories, all the different personalities, and you get like 50 different versions of each personality, because they're the ones that rep up the big roles. So even though like somebody comments and I see comments and I see somebody say like, oh, I didn't relate to this at all, this is not at all what I was like in high school, I don't get upset. Honestly, I'm like, I feel you. Like, I totally get that.
There needs to be more, and maybe there's
exactly.
That's a very good point.
My high school experience wasn't nearly at all like Davies, right? I wasn't like her in personality at all. Like, I didn't really give a crap about boys that much, and I just wasn't as... I wasn't just like Davy, like Davy's just Davy. Yeah, but so I don't blame them, because
you literally described her like a sister, by the way. Like, she's just Davy.
I feel like I would still be friends with Davy if she was in like a real person in my life. I've thought about that multiple times. But the point is that we can't all possibly relate to Davy. That is impossible. And if we did put every single personality trait and attribute and experience into her character, number one, the show would be crap.
Yeah,
it would be
for sure.
It would never dive deep. It would never be able to dive deep because there's too much to touch. So, hopefully, moving forward, Davy makes other writers, directors, producers realize that putting, South Asian characters into your cast, into the big roles specifically, not just merely in your cast as like a quirky sidekick, but into your cast as a lead role, will make your production cool. Like, we're not a setback. So hopefully Davy just opens the door.
You hit it right. You hit it right on the nail. It's everything that's happening right now as we speak. And I mean, I guess to those critics, maybe you can write that too. Now you have that opportunity for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I personally don't plan on stopping at just never have I ever. Like, I want to take on more roles that are different to Davy, and like more characters that maybe that character doesn't touch at all on, you know, her being South Asian specifically, and like all of like, you know, her embarrassment for being South Asian, nothing like that. Maybe it's just character in like some cool future movie, right? Like in some dystopic world that just happens to be South Asian.
Right.
I make the character a Tamil girl, and it's like, oh, cool. She's just Tamil, living her life.
Exactly. You don't have to explain everything because people don't know what is a Tamil.
Yes.
Where is that? Where is a Tamil?
What is a Tamil? I will never forget when somebody said, "Do you mean camel?"
Sorry, like the animal camel? And
yes.
then
yeah, literally, and then. No, I just rolled my eyes. I walked away from that. I was like, goodbye, good night. It's been a day.
A day. Well, so as we kind of touched on this a bit already, but I would say this is the first show of its kind to have, you know, a South Asian, you know, Tamil female protagonist who wants to own her own sexual experiences. We don't talk about sex. Like, we don't. And especially if you're a woman, that's just like,
big no.
What is sex? We don't do that. We don't talk about it. But this show went in on episode 1. You were in a wheelchair and you went in.
That show went, oh my god, within like the first 15 minutes. That show goes hard. It's
So, I mean, what I really wanted to kind of get an understanding of is, you know, I think it's really, really appropriate and important that, you know, we got to see this because we're having some really important discussions right now in our own community on consent and women's liberation, like sexual liberation.
Yes.
And I know you kind of already mentioned, you know, your own experience, like, was not really like babies in that regard. So what are your thoughts on like what would you maybe want to tell your viewers on like how to approach something like this?
Yeah, it's like number one, it's awesome that the show touches on, you know, sex straight up, and I think it's really cool that, yeah, sure, because Davy's South Asian, it makes it that more special, but I think in a lot of shows, we usually see the guy seeking out sex versus the girl, you know?
Right.
She's interested in it, and my favorite scene is when Davy, Fabiola, and Eleanor are learning how to have sex, but off Wikipedia, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
So it's very realistic, you know, it's very realistic, and, you know, I'm not going to be the one to say, like, I'm not going to say some cheesy crap of, be open with your parents, talk to your parents, and be transparent. Like,
it's not that easy. It's just not.
It's not that easy, and I'm not gonna assume that it is. Like, I, you know, personally for me, like, I didn't really care about that when I was in high school, but then at the same time, my parents are pretty chill.
Right,
so
right.
That's my, you know, that's my blessing. That's my blessing of having my own parents. And I don't know who's watching this who might have a different set of parents that are super strict. And, you know, that's for them to deal with, and I'm not going to tell them, go just talk to them. Don't do that. Maybe don't. Like, you know your situation best.
For sure.
Yeah, you know your situation best, but my advice is just don't shy away from talking to yourself about it. I feel like because the South Asian community pushes down talking about sex, we as individuals in our own head push it out of our own minds at times.
Yeah, it's like, I'll deal with it when it happens, you know? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or we, you know, think about like, oh, like, you know, it doesn't matter, like, whatever, deal with it when it happens, or we just don't really talk about our own sexuality, how we feel about sex just as ourselves, right? And because of that, if we don't have that awareness of how, you know, individuals, like individually, we don't have that awareness of how we should be treated and how we think about sex individually, that's what leads into people, like you said, like everything going on between consent. That's how people take advantage of those individuals. Because they haven't had those conversations by themselves of, this is how I want my body to be respected. That is something I think should always be screamed at the top of everybody's lungs at the highest of roofs, you know, making sure that people understand consent and respect for other people's bodies.
And I like that you said that, and the way you said that, like, this is how I want to be respected.
Yes.
You know?
That's the conversation everybody needs to have with themselves, you know?
Yeah,
and make sure they project that onto other people.
Absolutely, yeah. And definitely, yeah, like you were mentioning, it's go do the research. There's no shame in that. There's no shame.
Like, don't worry. Like, incognito mode exists for a reason if you want, but like, just go for it. Have that. Don't have the conversation with your parents. Have the conversation with your parents. Just make sure you have the conversation with yourself about how you want to treat your body and how you want to respect your body.
Yeah, I mean, in that vein, I'm sort of excited to see what Davey has in the store in season 2.
God knows what Davey's doing.
You're just going on that, right?
God knows what Davey's doing. God knows. Oh man, I really do talk about her like an annoying little sister.
Honestly, was throughout the entire show, and I know you mentioned that, like, you know, your parents are definitely like a bit more liberal, but how is it knowing that, you know, your Tamil parents, your aunties, your uncles, like, they not only know that you now know what sex is, they've seen you do things on screen.
Yeah. So obviously, like, my parents, both of them, they were on set with me while I was filming. My grandma watched the whole show with me. She's heavily a Team Paxton fan. Oh yeah, no, she's the hardcore Team Paxton fan, and my brother is a Team Ben fan, and they go at it. So no, other way around. Sorry.
These are your dinner, your round table discussions at home.
Oh yeah, the other way around though. Sorry, grandma's Team Ben, my brother's Team Paxton. I don't even know. I tune it out because all I do is they just say Team Baby, and I walk away. That's like my little insert, but no one cares about that.
Love yourself, right? First and
exactly.
foremost.
That's all you see me. I'm coming in with shades, and I'm like, self-love. Thanks.
The shades come in like this.
Yes, exactly. They just drop in somehow. But anyways, no, back to your point. It's mainly like the uncles, the aunties, the extended family and whatnot. Like, those reactions have been, like, you know, varying and, like, they're different. In my family, I've always been known as the one to just be super open, super blunt. Like, if somebody...
You kind of established that to begin with.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, if somebody's saying some disrespectful, sexist stuff, I'm gonna call it out in front of all the family. Like, I don't care if you're my uncle, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are, because half the time, I don't even know how you're properly related to me. But I'm gonna call you out.
For real. And you know what? I totally respect that, because, you know, that's something that, I mean, I resonate with as well. It's like, respect is not because you're old. Respect is because you earned it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So I've always been known as, like, the one in the family that, like, will call out that stuff. Like, I have no problem calling out somebody being, like, you know, whether they're being colorist about one of my cousin's skin or saying something about being outside for too long. I'm like, shut up. Shut up.
Exactly like that.
Like, stop. Like, stop talking. Yeah. Just stop, you know?
Yeah.
So I do that, and I think people know me for that, so they wouldn't. And I also, you know, just South Asian.
They just won't have the audacity then to be like.
Oh, and like, you know, they're not gonna say it to my face. Yeah. They might, if they have their thoughts, they wouldn't say it to my face of like, oh, so you know about this, or like, oh, like, you know, whatever it is.
Oh.
They might talk. Yeah, exactly. They might talk behind like the scenes, and I'm like, okay, go ahead. Like,
right.
You still have
like your parents
show in your mouth.
Like there hasn't been, your parents haven't received any backlash, because like, where I'm coming from really is what I'm trying to understand is, I mean, sure, your parents will be cool with you, right? But I mean, even with me, in my own experiences, it's like the stress that comes with other people coming to the parents and being like,
oh yeah,
I'll do this.
I'm sure my mom and my dad have had somebody ask them like, oh, you let your daughter do this? You know, like, I'm sure. I'm sure they have. But my parents are too cool to let me have that, like, faze me, like, put that on my radar. They wouldn't bother me with that, you know?
Great. That's
which
awesome.
I love them to death for it. But at the same time, like, I like to know because I don't care. You know, like, I'm like, okay, don't tell me what they're saying. Like,
yeah.
Give me a laugh. Like, I want to know. That's just, like, the shit disturber in me, though. So, like, I need to settle down there. But, yeah.
No. It's entertainment at that point, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just, like, okay, cool. Like, I'm living my best life. So, thank you. Good day. It's been fun. It's funny though when they're like, I don't know if you know Pragati. She was on Super Singer.
The
years ago.
singer. My
Yes.
dad loves her. Like, he sort of coming to me and being like, I wish you were her. Yeah.
So I'm like good friends with Pragati. She's my homie. I met her in LA. She was
Right.
on the show, of course. So it's funny when they're like, you know, they're roasting me, and then I'll like mention, I'm like, yeah, me and Pragati, like, you know, we really hung out a lot in LA, and they're like, oh, wow. It's like they want to meet her, and I'm like, oh. Well.
It's that Tamil Super Singer connection. You can be on Super Singer and not even like say you're not even good. As long as you're on Super Singer, your parents.
As long as you were near the chocolate shower. As long as you were near the chocolate shower, like you're blessed. Like you have
literally you're blessed. Yes. God bless my child.
Chocolate shower. Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh my god, yeah.
It was so bad. I've asked Pragati so many questions about that, and I've told her I'm gonna just get chocolate every time I see her and just chuck it at her.
Oh my god. You know, I would love, you know, that's a good point. I'd love to ask her about that. But our next question is actually from one of our audience members or one of our followers on Tamil Culture. She is from the lovely city of Brampton. Her name is Banuja.
Hi, I'm 17 years old, and I was just wondering what your life was like after graduation. Was there any experiences that stood out to you? And overall, do you have any advice for people like me who are going to be graduating soon? Thanks.
Were you able to catch that?
Yeah, her hair is gorgeous.
Yeah,
what?
seriously, like
it's gorgeous.
full
oh
and
God.
just I guess COVID's doing well too, to like just not do anything and let your hair thrive.
Yeah, no, here's my advice for you after graduating, like go be a model. Like what? Hello?
Oh,
jeez.
there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
No. For real though, what was my life like after graduating high school? Okay. It was a little bit of an interesting experience because when I was in high school, like in May, still yet to do my exams, I knew that I got the role, right? So I was like sitting on this secret the entire time, and like, you know, I was still like vibing though, like I was still going through high school with like my senioritis, not caring about exams, like procrastinating and not handing in things, yay. But you know, I was sitting on this like whole big secret. Commencement happened. I knew where I was gonna go in a couple of weeks. I knew when my plane ticket was. So really 2 weeks after commencement, after graduation, I was on the plane. Like I was on the plane to LA to start filming. It was sort of sad because I told some of my friends, because I couldn't tell like everybody that I got the role. I had to keep it a secret, right? I told everybody. Yeah, they were like, why are you going back to LA? Like, why are you going? And I'm like, they want me to do a chemistry check with the guys, you know, like the love interest, because like that's how like it works, you know. And I was like, dropping all these like lies,
chemistry,
like chemistry, biology. You know what I'm saying, my guy? So I told them this, and they were like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And I'm like, okay, all right. And then I left, and then I didn't come back till October. So. That was my
unique one. Yeah, like it wasn't a normal. Yeah.
No, yeah, it wasn't a normal after like high school experience, but I wouldn't change it for the world, you know. And I don't think that's sort of my advice, right? Like, I think that's my advice though. Like, you know, everybody has that different experience. So once you know you graduate, like once that happens, you know, good job, congrats. Yeah, like enjoy your own individual experience and really. Embrace this new chapter of your life of how you're going to be able to do so much more and, you know, dive into your passions. And if you don't know what you're passionate about, that's like okay too, because like who really knows? Who cares? Just do whatever makes you happy and make sure to spend time with the people that do make you happy. Like cut out the toxicity, have fun, be near those good vibes. Yes.
So in season 1, what was the most difficult scene that you had to shoot?
Season 1 most difficult scene I had to shoot. Okay, definitely the first crying scene where Devi goes down to the the main floor and she sees her dad, because I haven't done a crying scene up until this point.
Yeah.
So I was really nervous. I was like, oh, you want me to cry? And they were like, oh, you can use like glycerin and you can like, put menthol in your eyes. And I was like, no, I'm doing this. I don't know if that's
oh my God, good for you.
That's my stubbornness of like, no, I gotta do this. Like, I gotta. So, I did it in the end, but like working the days up to it, I was like, gotta practice, like, gotta get this down.
So you had to practice?
Oh, yeah, 100%. And I did it.
So what was the first scene that you shot? Like, ever, like, forever?
Yeah.
Ever?
Oh, I know. It's when Davy is showing Fabiola and Eleanor who they're going to date. It's that first day of school.
Oh.
And it's the scene where they just walk into the classroom, and I've chosen attainable yet status enhancing people for each of us to date. Fabiola, you are gonna, and I keep going on, and it's like that whole scene up until Fabiola says, you sound like a sociopath, right? Sociopaths get shit done, Fab. Now go sit next to your marks and lock them down. So, yeah, I still know the majority of the lines. It's quite sad. Like,
no, that's amazing. You must be great at parties.
Yeah.
So you sort of, I think through our banter, we sort of kind of figure out, Davy is definitely, you're totally different from Davy.
Yeah.
But Davy seemed to have a lot of issues with a lot of characters on that show. Like, there was just, drama, all the time. So, you personally, were there any characters on the show that you wouldn't get along with?
What character would I not be friends with? I don't know. I feel like I'm thinking of the kids, and I feel like, cause as a kid, I'm assuming I'm going into Sherman Oaks High, me as Maitreyi Ramakrishnan going into Sherman Oaks High. I feel like I would actually get along with all the characters. I feel like the one I wouldn't talk to as much would be Paxton, just because I was.
Sorry, Paxton. Okay.
Yeah, it would be Paxton. Just because I don't do sports, so it's that's more of a matter of how would I be in their circle to even really actually meet them to talk to them.
Yeah.
I know for a fact me and Eleanor would be friends because we would have drama and theater together. Right?
She's hilarious, by the way.
Oh my God.
I love her.
Ramona kills it. Love her. I'm her biggest fan. And I feel like me and Ben Gross, I feel like I would probably have a respect for him for being smart, but I'd also call him out whenever he said something rude. So I probably wouldn't like him then.
That's kind of what you did on the show anyways.
Yeah, me and Davey, that's the thing. That's where me and Davey would be friends. When Davey calls people out, that's when me and her would be friends, but then she would be too much, and I'd be like, girl, you need to chill. Now, you need to chill.
So you would be that friend that puts her in her place.
Yeah, it's Davey, that was too much. No, stop. That's how it would be.
Right. Okay, so, my next question, I think you may have actually answered it, is who would be your BFF for life?
I think, I don't know if I'm biased to say this, that it would be Fabiola, because I feel like me and Fabiola would actually really get along. I think that's also maybe because she's played by Lee. I love Lee so much, to death.
Oh, so this is not a completely objective answer here.
No, this is not a completely objective answer. But then at the same time, I know for a fact that me and Eleanor would get along well because of drama. We would have that mutual love. So I genuinely think that me and the UN, we would all be proper friends.
Yeah.
Because I'm also proper friends with Ramona and Fabiola and Lee.
Right.
Oh my God, when worlds collide, this is too much for me. But me, Ramona, and Lee, we're actually legitimate friends.
Right.
So I feel because there's a little bit of themselves in their characters as there's a little bit of myself in Davy.
Yeah.
I would be friends with them the most. Yes. I said that.
I understand. You
also, I think me and Eric could get along too. Me and Eric, we'd be bro. I'd vibe. Eric's funny. And he's in orchestra. He has a tuba. People play tuba are so cool.
Yeah, they are, actually.
So,
they really are. French, I don't know if you know any French horn players. French horn players are also
I do.
really cool.
One of my best friends is a French horn player.
Oh my God! See,
yes.
There you go.
See? So I know me and Eric also get along. We would vibe.
So now that you have season 1 under your belt and now you're going into season 2, what's your next move or projects that you kind of want to work on?
Yeah, honestly, right now it's, reading scripts, figuring out where I want to be in terms of like the future, because I've realized there's so many different avenues that you can take as an actor in the field, right? There's just so much. So it's figuring out what do I like, what do I resonate with, and making sure that, I stay proper. I want to make sure that I represent the South Asian community well, because we don't have that representation.
Yeah.
And,
this is why, like, we love you.
like, I want to make sure I make the right move.
Like, you.
Like, I'm not saying I'm going to be immune to making mistakes. I'm sure one day I'll mess up and I'll own up to it when that happens. But as of right now, I want to make sure that I do the best possible job to make sure that I take on roles that resonate with me, that are a part of projects that resonate with the world. Not just one community, but the entire world. And really represent South Asians well, in a good light, not in a crappy, half-lit kind of flex. Like,
not the stereotype either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm like looking forward to trying to achieve.
So that is basically all the questions that we had today. And I had a wonderful time chatting with you, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Tamil community, and I think women everywhere, that we are so grateful to have you represent us. 100%. This has kind of been a habit now. I got to talk to you season 1, season 2. I can't wait for season 3.
This is how it's gonna go. This is how it's gonna be.